Welcome back to Divine Conversations. This is the second half of our conversation with David Washington on fear.
And there's fears that come up that are real, and some go deeper than others.
Mm-hmm.
I play piano and keyboards, and I hurt my hand mostly from spending too much time on the computer and bad posture and some bad habits, and so my hand was hurting and down around the carpal tunnel area, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the pain, not real pain, but just enough to get my attention. I really enjoy music and playing music and writing music. This was a concern.
Right.
And I don't want an outcome where I can't play the piano. And so I've taken some steps, and some wonderful opportunities have opened up, reconnected with some practices. In looking at all of the possible outcomes, thought about ways to, if I can't play it, I'll find somebody to play the songs for me.
Yeah.
And all of that, planning for the solutions really helped alleviate the fear, and just knowing that focusing on the worst possible scenario is only going to help make that manifest.
Absolutely.
So, we tend to go in the direction of our vision, and I'd rather see myself moving through this episode, whatever it is, with my hand, as it is unfolding. Like I said, getting in touch with practices internally, getting more exercise, getting more energy moving, improving my posture, going back to some things that just being more in the moment, which is a good thing. And then noticing how often when I'm sitting writing, I'm leaning into the keyboard, leaning into the screen, leaning on my hand, and just being aware. And to actually sit up straight and let the energy flow through me, through that crown chakra down into the chair, rather than extending myself outward.
Right.
Start with that vertical connection first. Literally start with that vertical connection first.
Yeah.
And all of that just, it nullifies the fear. Action nullifies the fear.
Yeah.
Can't say it, but I'm loading you through it.
Well, but that's the thing, is truly the opening up, right? I mean, because fear closes us down. When we tend to stay in the fear for any length of time, it closes us down. It closes our heart. It closes possibilities down. We stop seeing opportunities and possibilities in front of us, and to open up. And I think of opening up this way. You were talking about opening up this way. That is, or for me, just putting my feet in the grass. I'm a barefoot person anyway, but putting my feet in the grass and just, people call it earthing. I used to call it grounding. Same thing. But it's that allowing the energy to flow through us. And it really does, it allows the fear to dissipate enough to see opportunities and possibilities in a much more possible way.
Yeah. So, there are practices, and as we noted before, the habitual ways of being, whether it's leaning into the computer screen with bad posture, or just reviewing a problem or an issue over and over and over and over and over again, and I would drive myself crazy, and I was in charge of that. So I had to stop, because I was driving myself crazy, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So it's not about not having troubles, but how do I handle them?
Right.
And not to be a victim of my own sensitivity, my own imagination. Because, I have a fertile imagination. I can imagine all kinds of things.
Absolutely. Yeah. That tendency to beat myself up because I'm not where I think I should be. And that's not helpful. When I go into any situation and go, I'm exactly where I need to be. And if that's only for me to realize that I don't want to be here,
Mm-hmm.
but allow myself to experience all of the ups and downs and ins and outs and good and bad that I have experienced to be exactly where I am now.
It's the nature of life itself that these ups and downs and ins and outs, they come and they go.
Yeah.
And I'm not obliged to stay in any of them, and I'm not obliged to like them.
Yeah.
And it's unrealistic to think I'm only going to get stuff that I like. It hasn't worked out that way so far.
Right.
And yet, at the same time, I'm not so much attached to whether I like it or dislike it. If I feel like I want to get out of it, then I get out of it if I can. And if I can't get out of it, then unless, obviously if it's not life-threatening, then okay, this will be over at some point. I don't want to say be happy, but at least a relaxation with centeredness.
Yeah.
So the information that fear gives me is important information to have, and but not to get pulled permanently off center by it is a big deal.
Absolutely. So for me, that relaxing you were just speaking about is really the key, because my mind is constantly giving me a whole bunch of information, whether it's real or imagined or whatever. And if I can just relax into the moment, whether that means taking some mindful breaths, I can recenter. It is truly that shift that I'm looking for. Fear, pain, anger, they're not not places I tend to want to spend time in. But like you said, the information in them is useful. So even if I can't seem to find a way out of the frustration that I'm experiencing, the anger, the fear I'm experiencing, if I can just relax, then I can tend to see a way out or a way through the experience.
Yep. Yes. Part of the information that fear gives me is at the crux of it, and this is only one way to look at it. I believe that fear has a lot to do with the future for the most part. So it tells me in one form or another that I think that the good of spirit, somehow God is not going to be present in this future because of this circumstance.
Yeah.
And if I go back to the most elemental aspects of metaphysics, I know that spirit, God, is present everywhere all the time, beyond space and time, and will be in that situation as well. That's what I need to remember. And it tells me I have a belief that somehow God won't be there at that time in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's the opportunity to come back to center in the present moment and realize that in that present moment, I'll still be there and can choose to be centered in this reality.
Seems a perfect opportunity to bring up control, because a friend of mine has mentioned recently that when there's control in any situation, there's fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I have often referred to myself as a control freak, knowing that, and when she first said that, I was like, oh, no. But it's true. When I feel the sense of control, or when I feel out of control, there's definitely and when I feel like I have to prove to you that I'm right, there's some fear.
I think for the most part, I've come to the conclusion for the most part that control is an illusion.
Well, yes.
In so many ways. Physical level, I have no control of the people at the power company. I have no control over. It just goes on and on and on. When I surrender my sense of self into something larger, it doesn't matter if I'm right. I've been right, I've been wrong, and neither of them mean that much to me anymore. It's
Yeah.
okay, I was right about that. Okay, now what? And even over little things, and believe me, I can get my knickers in a twist over ridiculous things. But if you and I are working together and there's a task to be done, and you want to do it a certain way, and in the end, it's your responsibility, let's say. Maybe I see a better way to do it. That's better, meaning it's faster, more efficient, less effort, what have you. But your way will get it done. Is my way better? Why do I need? As long as it gets done.
Right.
And if you want to go down that road and try 2 or 3 things that won't work, I can make the suggestion, and maybe you need to learn those 2 or 3 things don't work. But what am I accomplishing to prove to you that I know better?
Right.
Why?
Right.
To prove to myself that I'm a worthy person because I'm so smart. I mean, maybe there's some golden down that road. Just to think about that. Why do I need to be in control? I suspect that the control does have something to do with a sense of worthiness, and that is connected to who we think ourselves to be.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
As I live more often in a larger sense of self where there is actually control, I don't need to manage it at the micro level,
Yeah.
And subsequently the fear dissolves. I'll let you do it your way, and I don't have to be afraid it won't get done. It'll get done.
It'll get done.
Or not. So, it's fear is an interesting thing, and I appreciate the messages that come and the essential message that somehow I will be off in the future at some time in some circumstance disconnected from love, disconnected from God. And the opportunity to remind myself that that's impossible. I just have to find my way there in the midst of whatever it is that's going on. Is my response to it.
Absolutely. The truth is that we're never disconnected. It's our perception.
Right.
And
right.
It's up to me to bring myself back in alignment with the truth. Because the truth is that there's only love. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, David. This has been lovely.
Thank you, April. Yeah, it's been great. Always good to be with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching. I'm April Connor with Divine Spark. Please check out my website at aprileconnor.com.